Letter 99 by Charles Lamb. Charles Lamb to St. Coleridge, October 9, 1802. Carissime scribis, ut nummos silis et epistolarios, solvum et postremo in Tartara beam. Immo tu podius Tartaricum, ut aiunt deprehendisti, qui mi vernaculami lingua proscriba conductitio per tot annos, satis eleganta usum ad Latin impure et canino fear, or latrandum per tuasmit epistolas, bene compositas, et consonatas per celer studeris. Canaber tamen varia, ut desistas nostri Christi, inter quas tanta diligentia magistri improbi bonus literulis, quasi per clisterum quendam injectis, infra supraque alim penitus imbutus fui, barnisia et marklander doctissimorum, virorum nominibus ad hoc gaudens, barbarismus meis peregrinis, et aliunt quasitis, valda Dionys devero sic. Sed perger quacunc placet. Adest igita, quat estis, conjugationum declinationum termi, terribilia spectra, et tu imprimis ades, umbra et imago maxima obsoletas, dies gradi verg, qua novissime in mentum recepta, horis cunt subito natals natis, et parum dist quo minus bracas mis ultro usc ad crura demitem, et ips pura litera julum. Ista tua carmina chamoniana satis grandia esse mihi constat, sed hoc mihi non nihil displicit, quad in iis illi montium grisonum inter si responsions, totidum rebont anglis, God, hodolita ac temit audivi tuas monies Cumbrianas resonare docents, tad, nemp doctorum infelicem, vosum cert haud diem sonentum, pro ceteris plaudo. Idem comparations, istas tuas satis calidas, et lepidas cert novi, sed quid hoc ad verum, cum illi consulari viro, et mentum irritabilum istem Julianam, et etiam astucias, frigidulas quastum Augusto proprieras, nequequam congruenter uno afflatu comparationis causa in sedis affirmaveris, nec non nescio quid. Similitudinis etiam, cum Tiberio tertio in loco solicite produxetis. Quid tibi equidem cum uno vel altero cicer, cum universi dudsim ad comparations tuas si ultro celerent, praeterea, vetestati ad natans, comparations iniquas odi. Istas Wordsworthianas nuptias, vel potius cujustum Edmundae tui, t. Rachelis mirificum gaudio. Valias Maria, fortunata nimium, et antiquia li Mari Virgini, comparation plusquam Caesariana forsitan comparanda, quonium beta inter mulieres. Et etiam fortis Wordsworthium ipsum tuum maritum angelo salutatori equer fas erit, quonium isilo, utile descendant et musi et ipsi musicali, et Wordsworthium musarum observantissimum semper novi. Nec nunti quoque affinitate hac nova, Dorothea gratula, et tu cert alterum donum Dei. Istum ludum, quem tu, Coleridgi, Americanum garis, alludo ut ludi sunt maxime abhorrentum praetereo, nemp quid ad ludum attinet, todius illi gentis Columbiani, a nostra gent, idem stirp orta, ludi singuli causa voluntatem purpurem alienare, quasso ego materiam ludi, tu bella ingeris. Denique valias, et quid de latinitate me puts, dicas, facias ut appossum illum nostrum volentum vel ut tu malis, quendam pissam erabundum, a me salvum et pulcherimum esse jubias, valent uxer tua cum heartleo nostra. Sora me salva est et ego, vas et ipsa salva jubit, ulterius progredi non lice, homo sum eratus. P.S. Pin mihi exciderat, apud me esse librorum a Johanno Miltono, Latin scriptorum volumina duo, qui Dio volent, cum ceteris tuis libris osseus sitius per Maria. Ad te missura sic curabo, sed me in hoc te ligena, rerum nullo modo festinantum navisti, habes confitentum reum, hoc solum disi sic restat, predicta volumina pulchra esse et omnia opera latina J.M. in si continer, circa defensionum istem pro pop, ang, acerimam in presens ips preclaro gaudio mora. Jussa tua stuartina facium ut diligenter calam, itrumque valias, et facias memor sis nostri. I append a translation from the pen of Mr. Stephen Gwynn. Dear friend, you write that I am to pay my debt, to wit in coin of correspondence, and finally that I am to go to Tartarus. No, but it is you have caught a Tartar, as the saying is, since after all these years employing my own vernacular tongue, and prettily enough for a hired penman, you have set about to drive me by means of your well-composed and neatly turned epistles to gross, and almost doggish barking in the Latin. Still I will try, and yet I fear that the hostel of our Christ, wherein by the exceeding diligence of a relentless master I was in days gone by deeply imbued from top to bottom with polite learning, instilled as it were by a clyster, which still glories in the names of the erudite Barnes and Markland, will be vilely dishonored by my outlandish and adcetitious barbarisms. But I am determined to proceed, no matter whither. Be with me therefore all ye troops of conjugations and declensions, dread spectres, and approach thou chiefest, shade and phantom of the disused, thank heaven birch, at whose entry to my imagination a sudden shiver takes my rump, and a trifle then more would make me begin to let down my breeches to my calves, and turning boy, howl boyishly. That your ode at Chamonix is a fine thing I am clear, but here is a thing offends me somewhat, that in the ode your answers of the Grison Mountains to each other should so often echo in English God, God, in the very tone that I have heard your own lips teaching your Cumbrian mountains to resound Tod, Tod, meaning the unlucky doctor, a syllable assuredly of no godlike sound. For the rest, I approve. Moreover, I certainly recognize that your comparisons are acute and witty, but what has this to do with truth? Since you have given to the great consul at once that irritable mind of Julius, and also a kind of cold cunning, more proper to Augustus, attributing incongruous characteristics in one breath for the sake of your comparison. Nay, you have even in the third instance laboriously drawn out some likeness to Tiberius. What had you to do with one Caesar or a second, when the whole 12 offered themselves to your comparison? Moreover, I agree with antiquity and think comparisons odious. Your Wordsworth nuptials, or rather the nuptials of a certain Edmund of yours, fill me with joy in your report. May you prosper, Mary, fortunate beyond compare, and perchance comparable to that ancient Virgin Mary, a comparison more than Caesarian, since blessed art thou among women. Perhaps also it will be no impiety to compare Wordsworth himself, your husband, to the angel of salutation, since, like the angel from heaven, descend both muses and the servants of the muses, whose devoutest votary I always know Wordsworth to be. Congratulations to thee, Dorothea, in this new alliance. You also assuredly are another gift of God. As for your Ludus Lloyd, whom you talk of as an American, I pass him by as no sportsman, as sport goes. What kind of sport is it, to alienate utterly the goodwill of the whole Colombian people, our own kin, sprung of the same stock, for the sake of one Lud Lloyd? I seek the material for diversion. You heap on war. Finally, fare you well, and pray tell me what you think of my Latinity. Kindly wish health and beauty from me to our flying possum, or, as you prefer to call it, roving fish. Good health to your wife and my friend Hartley. My sister and I are well. She also sends you greeting. I do not see how to get on farther. I am a man in debt or possibly in fetters. P.S. I had almost forgot. I have by me 2 volumes of the Latin writings of John Milton, which D.V. I will have sent you sooner or later by Mary. But you know me no way precipitate in this kind. The accused pleads guilty. This only remains to be said, that the aforesaid volumes are handsome and contain all the Latin works of J.M. At present I dwell with much delight on his vigorous defense of the English people. I will be sure to observe diligently your Stuartial tidings. Again and again farewell, and pray be mindful of me. Coleridge's Hymn Before Sunrise in the Vale of Chamonix was printed in the Morning Post for September 11, 1802. The poem contains this passage. God, let the torrents, like a shout of nations, answer, and let the ice plains echo, God, God, sing ye meadow streams with gladsome voice, ye pine groves with your soft and soul-like sounds. And they too have a voice, yon piles of snow, and in their perilous fall shall thunder, God. Canon Anger suggests that by Todd, the unlucky doctor, Lamb meant doctor. William Dodd, 1720–1777, the compiler of the Beauties of Shakespeare and the forger, who was hanged at Tyburn. Your comparisons. Coleridge's comparison of the present state of France with that of Rome under Julius and Augustus Caesar was printed in the Morning Post, September 21, September 25, and October 2, 1802. See Essays on His Own Times, 1850, Vol. Roman 3, page 478. Wordsworth's marriage to Mary Hutchinson, on October 4, 1802, had called forth from Coleridge's ode on dejection, printed in the Morning Post for the same day, in which Wordsworth was addressed as Edmund. In later editions, Coleridge suppressed its personal character. Ludus is Lloyd. Lamb means by American what we should mean by pro-American. Stuartial, referring to Daniel Stewart of the Morning Post.